This is gonna hurt. It's time for the Suffering Podcast.
When you lock yourself down, is it done for your safety or for theirs? Getting trapped inside the institution of your mind, believing that the four walls are reality. Staying in a state of hypervigilance, developed as a survival technique. The rare tastes of freedom give you respite from the daily oppression. Beginning to dread going back inside, having to live with the confinement. Hoping that one day you can scale the walls and have the parole that lasts a lifetime. When it's all over and you finally get out, it takes just as long to recover and free your mind. The four walls that you're locked inside pale in comparison to the custody your mind can create. It must be a daily ritual to remind yourself that you are free. I'm Kevin Donaldson, always here with Mike Falaise, and welcome to the Suffering Podcast. If you're a fan of overcoming adversity and overcoming suffering, then we're for you, because that's what we do here, and that's the stories that we highlight. So do me a favor, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, please comment, ring the bell so you can get notified of all of our new videos, and now you can join. And of course, follow us on all social media so you can find out what we're up to. On this episode of the Suffering Podcast, a gentleman I've been speaking to for quite some time, and that's Matt Patunas, to talk about the suffering of a corrections officer. And joining us today is Matt Millar with that is a beautiful sweatshirt. Can you tell me where you got that sweatshirt?
I think I got it online somewhere.
Somewhere.
It's pretty good, isn't it?
Somewhere online. Yeah, the guy on there, the guy to the
good-looking
right,
guy.
He's a good-looking guy. He's a good-looking guy.
Looks like you.
He does. You know, they'll copy my face every once in a while. But we're going to talk about the suffering of a corrections officer, but there is so much more to your story that I really want to get into, because what you see up front while you're working is totally different usually than what's going on behind the scenes. We'll get into it in just a minute. Before we get into anything, let's throw a big shout out to our marquee sponsor. That's Toyota of Hackensack. We don't trust anybody as retired cops or podcasters, but we do trust Toyota of Hackensack. So do me a favor, go to toyotahackensack.com and let them find you a car. So gentlemen, you've listened to a couple shows. You know we always lead off with a social media question. This one comes from Monkey Taper, whatever the frick that means. What is the most adventurous thing you've ever done? And the second part of that question is, would you ever do it again? Why or why not? So Matt Patunas, I don't know how the fuck I'm going to do this today. With two Matts in here. It's usually two Mikes, but now it's two Matts. So what's the most adventurous thing you've ever done? As a young man. As a young man. Not, listen, we're older, we're wiser now.
I really don't know, Kev. Jesus Christ. Drawing a blank here. I mean, like the most adventurous. Let me hear. I'm sorry. I don't know. I really don't know. I mean,
coming on a podcast.
I'm just saying that I didn't know I was going to hit that with the first question, but I'm saying to you,
Matt, how about you? What's the most
like
adventurous thing?
I think I'll say that it wasn't when I was younger. It was probably practicing jiu-jitsu when I was older.
It's the greatest thing ever, isn't it?
Probably like 5 years left of my career as a cop. I decided to one day, I stopped coaching, walked into an MMA place, and
looks like fun.
Looks like fun, you know.
Until they have you start rolling to warm up, right?
You get twisted up a little bit,
and then you go against some killers. But you know what? I just got the juice flowing, and I'm been doing it now ever since. I don't know. It's got to be close to maybe 5-6 years now. So
it is the great equalizer.
Oh,
okay. So
humbling.
100%.
So a guy your size could tap out a 6'7" guy without thinking about it, but the next day you could get tapped out with a guy half your size.
Listen, it's
a
humbling.
female choking you out.
It's humbling. You know what? I only regret. I wish I would have done it earlier.
That's the big regret when people, especially later in their career, get involved in MMA or jiu-jitsu or something like that. They regret not doing it sooner not because of the skills that you learned, because of the confidence it instills in you.
Correct.
It's like training for 5 years, you're nowhere near the level of some of your guys in your class. I can guarantee it. But think about the confidence where you might have been a little quick to put hands on. Now you know you can, so there's no reason. It's like, dude, it's like, chill out.
That's very true. That's very true.
You know, I just had this in the gym. If my wife wasn't there to witness it, she'd swear to God that I antagonized the guy. The guy just starts mouthing off to me. And it was literally like, because I was on a machine, I stepped away for a second. I said, hey, I got a couple more sets, and then I'll let you know, as soon as I'm done, you can do it. Guy thought I was punking him out or something. And I remember looking at the guy going, he's chirping. And I go, dude, be careful, man. You're going to hurt yourself. You're going to hurt yourself.
You never know who you're playing with, boy.
That's it. That's
Don't.
it. You know, you treat everybody with I treated them with as much respect as I could, and then I lost my shit. So,
Well, you can only take so much. I mean,
you know, people just they try to get under your skin. That's what happened to me. There's a lot of things that I've done that are adventurous. You know, going down to Tijuana.
well, yeah.
You know, skydiving, which I thought was a great idea. You know, we'll take skydiving. Okay, so I always wanted to feel. I'd never been on an airplane. My parents were scared to death of flying. So the first airplane that I went up in, I jumped out of. And when I was going up in the airplane, it was a little Cessna. There's about 4 people on there with me, 5 people, and I am the only one that's not wearing a parachute because I did a tandem. That's a little humbling to know that everybody, including the pilot, has a parachute. I don't have nothing.
Except for you.
And they tell you, so there used to be pictures of it, but I don't know, they're lost to time, where they say when you step out, don't white knuckle. And so there was a cameraman, and you see me grabbing the side of the plane, and my knuckles are just stone white.
Hold off in your life.
But you're looking at this big giant Earth, and it puts everything into perspective. It really you really feel small. Now I said this on a previous episode. So you jump out. The guy on back of me hadn't showered in like 4 years. Some New Zealand guy. He smelled like absolute garbage. He smelled like a fucking like garbage urinal. That's what he smelled like, or
Like
circus urinal.
like a job site urinal.
Yeah, it was bad. It was bad. So, I'm floating down, and it's loud as shit. And I'm thinking, well, now I'm out. Now I'm free. Now I can do whatever I want. It's either we're going to land safely, or this guy's going to power fuck me into the ground. One or the other. So we get down there, and the chute opens up, and everything goes very quiet, and you're floating down and stuff. And this motherfucker, he grabs he goes, now watch this. And he pulls one of the strings. Now, what happens when you pull one of the strings? You go like this, and you start going in a circle. I'm not real good with motion sickness. That's what I found out. So we hit the ground, and I remember hitting the ground, and you've had these incidents, you know, working in law enforcement. I think both of you can relate to this, where after a hot call, something pops off, where you'll sit there, and you don't do it in front of people. You usually go in your car or something and just shake. Well, that was me. I'm sitting on the ground, and I'm shaking. And I'm like, what the fuck is this? This was before I was a cop. And it was the adrenaline dump that was just coming out of me, like a true adrenaline dump. It was cool.
Jumping out of a plane, yeah.
But I would definitely not do it again.
You know what he just said that? But one of the most adventurous things now thinking back, going up in a Cessna with
JFK?
One of our friends back in the day, Dave, remember?
Yes.
Private pilot, we're 18 years old. I mean, I was maybe 20. They were 19, right?
Yes.
Pre-9/11, you were able to just go into Teterboro Airport. He had his private pilot's license. Just rent out a Cessna for 4 hours.
Oh, he just rented a Cessna.
We just rented a Cessna.
Had
4
you
hours.
not? You have no idea who Don McLean is and the song American Pie?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Just make it
You
sure.
know, like just like thinking back on it, like I would probably not do that now. You know,
No,
doing this down the Hudson, like.
if you have kids, it changes everything.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
You know, when I was 21 when I did it, maybe 22, and I had nothing. Like if I would have planted myself in the ground, who cares?
Exactly at that age, you can just get up and walk off that.
But even if I died, who cares? You know, they'll hold a memorial service. I have a couple golf outings, some beefsteaks. You know, it'll be all right. But now I would miss my kids. I'd miss my family, miss my wife. So there's a lot more stake in the game now.
Sure.
A lot, ton.
So
ton more.
Monkey Tabor. What I got to get the meaning behind that. Monkey Tabor, thank you for sending that question in. Keep sending in your questions, and we will try to get on the air. So, Matt, I've heard a lot about you, okay? Our phone call was like, hey, listen, you got to talk to my buddy. He's out of his – actually, the conversation was he's out of his fucking mind. And I'm like, don't worry. People I surround myself are out of their fucking mind, too. But he's out of his fucking mind. He's got a great story. So we started texting. We got on the phone with each other. We scheduled it up. And it is a wild type story. It is a wild type story.
It is. It's, you know.
There's no glass slipper at the end.
No. It broke twice, that glass slipper. You know, it shattered twice.
So why don't you give our audience a little bit of idea how you grew up, where you grew up?
All right. I grew up in a small town in Lower Bergen County, Moonachie.
Is that the rich side or is the
I don't know if many. Was there any rich side in that town?
No, blue collar.
blue collar?
Very blue collar.
I don't think any part of Bergen County now is blue collar.
No, not even where. Yeah, that's gone.
Yeah.
My best friend sitting right next to me since we grew up together.
Yeah.
Right down the block from one another.
Oh yeah.
We actually live on a one-way dead-end street.
Called it, dead
Oh,
end.
that's great for sports, man.
Oh no, you understand?
Oh yeah.
It's a circle, but it's a one-way dead-end street. It's,
Oh,
it's
that's
great.
awesome.
It's kinda-
That's good for a couple different reasons, because like the neighborhood I live in now, it's like if somebody's coming down, well, not this neighborhood, my last neighborhood I lived in. If somebody's coming down my street, you're either they're doing no good, you're lost,
supposed to be
or you
there,
live
yeah.
there.
Right.
It's one of the three, right?
Yeah.
So it keeps the neighborhood safe.
Well, that's back to that. I'm back in my original house. My parents passed away, right? And I have the house, but I was living in Woodridge. I moved back down there. I'm back in that same house where I started from.
Well, so you have kids,
Yes, 2 girls.
so they get to experience a lot of the same things you experience.
Yes, my youngest daughter is 13, but she's going to a school that I went to. And that's in the 70s.
Yeah, you ready
70s
to
and 80s.
13-year-old? You ready to strangle him yet?
We just had a nice little discussion at dinner.
Yeah.
She's tough. She's tough. She's tough.
I got one that just turned 15 and one
Yeah.
that's just about to turn 12, so I know all about it. Yeah.
2 boys, though, right?
2 boys. Yeah, I
got
don't
2 girls.
make girls.
2 girls.
Got 2 boys.
I don't make girls. I always tell my friends who have all girls, I'm like, dude, listen, I'll donate.
You can
It's
help-
no
you can hook
sex
them up.
involved. I'll donate. I'll help you out. I'm always willing to help out a brother.
I got God punished me good.
Yeah.
I tell Matt that all the time.
Well,
God,
that usually
God
happens.
got me good.
That usually happens. So you grew up you in this
yeah.
little small neighborhood in Moonachie.
Yes.
Sports, all that stuff.
It's the sport. Yeah, 100%. Baseball, football, soccer.
You sure you're into baseball? Because you're wearing a Mets jersey.
That's another part of the suffering.
Oh, that's a lot of suffering.
It's the suffering, I tell
It's
you.
like Lenny Dykstra, Darryl
Yes.
Strawberry, Gooden, done.
The suffering. Watch, walk-off home runs, walk a run in.
Hey, but you do get to pay Bobby Bonilla.
Yes, for 50, I feel like another 20 years.
2031, so you always got to look at that.
my God.
That's an upside.
Great contract, the guy.
Oh, that's a beautiful contract.
He negotiated himself. Like, he was like, they were trying to be creative, how they said that, if you listen to his story, how they were trying to, like, work money into the contract. You thought back then, we'll pay you $50,000 for 50 years, over 30 years, I think he got, or something, $500,000.
It's a great retirement plan, plus his pension.
Plus interest.
Yeah, plus interest. Yeah, so he I think he gets like $1 million a year.
Yeah, something like that.
Andrew, I'm going to sign my next contract with you like that. All right? You will pay me over 30 years. We're good. But growing up, listen, we could do a whole episode on suffering of being a Mets fan because
Jesus,
that's pretty tough.
Kev, that and a Dallas fan.
You sure you're married to a woman?
Yeah, fortunately.
I'm sorry, dude. I'm sorry, dude. Dallas and the Mets, man.
Yeah, dude.
Boy, you're just asking for it.
I used to be like a Colts fan, I think, back in the I still got that little...
What, with Johnny U?
I think so. Like
That old.
my dad was Daddy was like a Green Bay Packer fan.
Well,
growing up.
Packers, I
Back-
understand.
Back in the day,
Packers, I
Lombardi
understand.
back in the day,
You know, so I grew up in South Jersey, and Herb Adderley used to played for the 2 Super Bowl teams in the 60s under Vince Lombardi. He was the newscaster. And I couldn't give 2 shits about anything, but when Herb Adderley showed up, I'm like, oh, my God. There he is.
That's the guy.
That's the guy.
That's the guy.
He played in the Ice Bowl, and it was the same thing. So I went to Fairleigh Dickinson University, and the Giants used to have their
Yep.
camp there.
Training right there.
So when Dan Reeves took over, so Dan Reeves played in the Ice Bowl.
Yes.
And I'm shaking Dan Reeves' hand, and I don't give a shit what he did in his football career. I'm like, so talk to me about the Ice Bowl. And he goes, it was like playing on concrete. That's all he kept saying. It's like playing on concrete.
Oh, back then too.
Oh, yeah.
Sure, it was directly playing on concrete.
Oh, well, no. So what? I don't know if anybody really knows that, and I know it's kind of a sidetrack, but the Ice Bowl, Vince Lombardi did something that was very revolutionary. He put it's Green Bay. He put a heated blanket over the field,
Tarped it.
and so the field would be supple. Well, as soon as he took the tarp off, it was like 40 below. Everything became rock hard because there's still moisture in the ground, and they had to play.
They had to play.
They had to play. So. Baseball, football, basketball.
No, but yeah, baseball, football, soccer. We were big, right, man? Baseball town, soccer town. Pop wanted football.
Yeah.
I went to high school, played football. The only reason I played football, to be honest, there was no soccer in where I went to high school in Woodridge. It was only up the hill. Woodridge is right next door to Moonachie. Still another little,
Soccer's for kids. Soccer's for kids whose parents don't want them to get hurt.
Well, when you have girls, my daughter's huge into that. It's big now.
Soccer's big. My
now.
son plays it.
Yeah.
I break his chops about it all the time. I'm like, I can't believe I'm raising a soccer player.
But it's all right.
Yeah. So
My daughter's very into it. My youngest.
Now, was college in the future?
No, there was no college.
So what'd you do out of high school?
Well, my father was we were union ironworkers, my whole family. Well, let's backtrack a little bit. My father's two brothers and him, they were all union ironworkers. My father was a baker first when he came back from Korea. My father was in Korea. When he came back from Korea, he was a baker for Sabret. My grandfather, my father's father, was a baker, came over from Greece. Went down to Jersey City, started working for Sabret. Sabret was huge back then down there. And that's my father got right in. He started being a baker, and then I think around 1967, I think he started ironworking.
Probably a rough trade back then.
It was. You had to be. My uncle was already into it. My uncle, my father's brother, he was older than my father. He was already in. And then back then it was either your father was in it, you're in it, or your brother was in it, your dad was in it, your two brothers, it was a family.
So I growing up in Atlantic City area, all my friends' parents, a lot of them were iron workers, but they're a different breed of people. They're fucking insane.
Oh, I did that from around 16 until, I worked.
You've seen some shit.
Yeah, I've been in some shit.
You've seen some shit?
Yeah, I've been in some shit.
Because I know for a fact there was one guy who got caught touching kids. He was an iron worker. Got caught touching kids. And I know the other iron workers held him over
they might have worked him
the
out,
steel.
yeah.
Like they held him, and I know the firsthand account of somebody who was there. They held him over the steel, and they're with no line. They're going to drop him. They're going to actually kill him. And somebody pulled him off, and somebody said,
"Well, back then they didn't my father used to tell me stories from the 70s,
yeah,
and even in the early 80s.
So 70s and 80s is where it's my butter zone. So I'm going to be the youngest one in this studio again.
You could be.
Yeah, I just turned 50.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I got you by a year.
You got me by a year?
Got you by 3 years.
Okay, good. So I'm still the youngest, and I work it that way. So you go into ironworking as soon
I go into ironworking
right out of high school.
Yes, during high school I was working with my dad during the summers, and he always kept saying, "Son, you don't want to do this. You don't want to do this. You want to be like me." My father was a big, stocky guy. Not big, small, but he was stocky. Arms. He had hands like catcher's mitts. He had hands on him like.
So back then it was a rough life. Now being an iron worker isn't so bad.
No, you have to work. But listen, having a father that was in the trades, and then me being the son of somebody that his nickname was Gene the Machine. So that's why my father's name was Gene the Machine. He was an animal. The guy worked his whole life like that. I got crushed. I got crushed.
But tell me why he didn't want you to be like him.
His back was always messed up. His hand, I caught my thing. Lost 2 teeth, got hit over the head, crazy. He's like, this is not what you want. You want to be able to go home. You want to have a regular life.
No, you want to be a longshoreman. That's what you want to be right now.
I said that to him, they're going to have a job for another 10 years and that might be done, but.
Yeah, well, that's why they're trying to cash out now.
Yeah, that's exactly right. They're going to get on it now.
Well, they're pricing themselves out of the business.
Well, they're going to be out of the business anyway. But
what career paths were you looking at?
No, that was it.
No, outside
no,
of
if I was like, I told my father, I have an older brother that passed away. I have 2 sisters. One's a nurse, and one she works for the Manchester Police Department. And I was like, Dad, listen, save your money. You'll waste your money. I'll come to work.
No, after ironwork, if you listened to your father and said, "Don't be like me."
Well,
what were you looking at?
It totally fitted. It fitted my total personality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ironworking.
Yes.
Why so?
It's just like the whole craziness about it. You got to have something a little wrong with you. You wake up 4:30 in the morning every morning. It could be 100 degrees or it could be -20. And just run around like a total animal. Rebar. Getting that. Just. The drinking, it's a total cliche. It's the truth though. The drinking, the drugs, you go out, you play hard, and you work hard, and that was my fault. My fault would never be the drinking, and work hard and go out, and then make sure you're at work tomorrow the next day. You never missed a day.
Was your father one of the iron workers where your mother had to send you down to the bar to go get him?
That's pretty fun. That's funny you said that. I was thinking about stuff like coming over here. I never forget my father, my first girlfriend. She used to call the house and be like, "Listen, I have to pick you up. Why? We have to go look for your father." Yeah. So at 9 o'clock, he would pick me up and we would go, up to Cliffside Park. We would go to Ridgefield, like all the spots that he had. Like there was like a little hit, But
They're
yeah.
not too hard to find.
No, not that. But he was probably already, by the time we looked for him, he was already home, either passed out with the phone off the hook, face down, face down. But the man never missed a day of work.
Is your father still with us?
No, he passed.
He passed.
My mother and father passed simultaneously from COVID.
From COVID. That's
Trust me, Kel.
So at what point did you say iron work was enough?
He kept saying it like, listen, son, this is, why don't you take the police test? I'm like, well, it would be a cop and, this.
What year are you talking about?
So this is like 96, like 96.
Okay.
He was like, come on,
It was starting to be a little bit better.
So I was like, yeah, exactly. It was good. And I was like, really? So a lot of friends of mine.
Were you on at the time?
Yeah, I got hired in 96.
96, my first year.
I don't even know what department you worked for.
Moonaki.
You work for Moonaki.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh, hometown boy. You're like licking their chops. You guys, they all love hometown boys.
Yeah, you know what? That wasn't my first choice, but back
Exactly.
then it was very hard to get on a job.
Very hard.
Very hard.
Well, it was competitive because look at the job market when people were coming back for the war. Everybody had veterans preference, so that most of your cops between say 10 years and 6 years now are all vets.
Yes.
But the new guys coming in, there's no more wars anymore.
No more.
So but that's the way it was.
Yes.
Back then.
Yeah.
Big time.
So you had
Well,
1,000 applicants.
for 3 jobs, maybe for
Yeah.
for an opening that nobody hired back then. Nobody was hiring 2 cops, maybe 1 cop.
And back then it was still a fun job. So
Yeah.
yeah.
It was still good.
Not as good as the old days.
The old days.
Okay. But from the older guys when I first started, but yes.
I don't like the way they did their job. It's like you had 20 plus years
correct.
on and you were just grizzled and you were just. The key component to any law enforcement officer being the best version of themselves is through education. Sherrie Allsup is a leader in providing that education to police agencies, preparing them for the all too frequent dealings with sexual assault victims.
You've seen Sherrie on episode 169 of the Suffering Podcast. She survived incest and almost daily sexual assault, so she comes from a place of experience and true understanding.
Sherrie has the intelligence, commitment, and compassion to open the eyes of those on the front lines, while providing the tools to effectively deal with a difficult situation. Sherrie's instruction comes from experience and multiple certifications.
Training with Sherrie will offer on-site training, customized schedules, specialized instruction tailored from a victim's perspective.
You are going to hear Sherrie's heart-wrenching but inspiring survivor story. Learn proprietary trauma-informed training techniques, uncovered victim-centered interview methods while earning continuing education credits according to your state guidelines. To be the best, you must learn from the best. Let Sherrie also guide you through the delicate cases of sexual assault from a victim's point of view.
Be a source of comfort to those victims affected by these traumatic experiences while producing a solid investigation and uncovering details that often go unnoticed.
To find out more or to contact Sherrie Allsup, go to sherrieallsup.com. That's SherrieAllsup.com. Beaten down and you didn't want to do anything, and here you're a brand new cop.
That's right.
And that kid don't do nothing. That sucks.
Yes.
That sucks.
Sit in the club, shut up.
Yeah. Bring your pillow.
Yeah.
Bring your pillow on midnights. And I don't think that was the right way either. Fast forward 30 years and,
Kev, we're talking, so the same town, right? So I'm young, 1977. Moonaki, where we grew up, my father becomes a marshal in town. They have half cops, right? I think they had
Something like that, yeah.
4 regular full-time cops, and they hired marshals, which I guess would be maybe called special, right? The special cops.
But they were like deputized.
My father had a gun, went to the police academy. They gave nut jobs guns and badges and handcuffs.
damn.
Yeah, Kev. Yeah.
Well, so the police academy in the 70s, they said it was like 6 or 8 weeks or something like that. It was just.
I don't think that even said he went up there. I think he said he went up there for like 3 weeks, 4 weeks.
Yeah, it's just. Well, hey, listen, different time.
Yeah, but it was just like, hey, you want to be a cop? Yeah, okay, here you go.
So, Matt, what advice being on the job as he's taking tests? Like, what did you try to mentor him a little bit? I know he's your buddy and you grew up together, but say, hey, listen,
Yeah, you know what?
go here, go there.
Kev, you know what? I was supportive of it. I did tell him though that being in corrections is probably one of the hardest law enforcement jobs out there.
I certainly wouldn't want it.
Because every day you're going to jail.
Mm-hmm.
The only good news is you come home. The other people are not.
Hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully. So, but you know what? I thought it was, listen, good pension, good benefits, same as a regular cop, if you want to call them regular cops. So being a CO, I said, yeah, Mike, Matt, go ahead.
So what do you
I was,
you don't get 39 and you don't get the academy is short by a couple weeks.
They don't get Title 39.
They don't get that. Now they do it almost everything except for that. They've changed that whole,
That I don't know.
the whole,
Well,
first of all,
so going in, when you took those tests
I took the test 97.
for corrections?
No, for the state.
For the
Remember
state.
the statewide test. 97, 98. 97, I took that test. I come out. Do you remember that big scandal with the Bernstein? Okay, well, I get a 98.7. I'm going to get hired. I'm going to get hired somewhere. I'm going to get on the job somewhere. I was married with my wife that I grew up with. We're married. We're living in Woodridge. I'm in Moonachie, I'm sorry. And it was 6 months, about 7 months. I said to my father, Dad, my father's like, listen, whatever comes first, you take it. He goes, you can always, if you don't like it, you can leave. Okay, we're working. I don't even know where we work. And, the search used to come out, the paper search, still the same way. Rahway State Prison. I go to my father, hey, Dad, listen, it's correction officer. He's like, oh, you really want to take that? I'm like, oh, listen, I don't know. I'm like, yeah, maybe not. I was making a ton of money,
You got to take a huge pay cut.
Well, I'll tell you a little story. We were the first class that went through the new state. We went that first class, class 170 or 169. They used to have it down the old training barracks down in Trenton. The state, the corrections office, we used to be down in Trenton.
You had to travel.
So no, they freeze everybody in 90. I went in 98. So 97 we get started. They freeze the list for 6 months. So I'm like, wow, I'm never gonna get hired. So there was talks like they're gonna redo the test and this whole nine, and which they didn't, but they moved us from the Trenton down to the state police barracks in Seagirt. So you get a call, you had to go. There was another meeting, but you have to go. 14 weeks, you're living down there, and you had a stipend back then. We were getting a stipend of $300 a week. $300 a week, F. I used to have to come home on Friday nights and work with my father Saturday and Sunday just to try to make some money. I was just married at the time, and I got that job. I just bought that house in Woodridge. Bought my first house. Thank God my wife Christina was making. She had a very good job. But imagine that. I said to my father, Dad, I don't know if I can do this here.
There was plenty of opportunities for me to get on corrections, and I'm not doing it. Like you said, I can't. First of all, I don't do well in enclosed spaces. Rehab taught me that very clearly. I don't do well in enclosed spaces, and that's all I kept thinking is I'm going to go to fucking jail every day. I don't want to do that. I lose my mind. So my hat's off to people who do it, but I don't think I could do that job.
You adapt to where you're going to adapt to where you're at, right? That was another job I told Matt. That job fitted me perfectly.
So you
fucking lunatic went in there, fucking guns blazing the whole nine.
So when you're in the academy, they're telling you what to expect, what they're training you, they're doing all this stuff. Like, what did you expect being a CO as? Like, what did you expect of it?
I had no clue of what working in the real jail is. First, Rahway State Prison is a real jail. Trenton State Prison is a real jail. Northern State Prison, these are dangerous real jails. Not to say that the other ones, but back in the day, like you worked in Rahway, like guys from the 60s, you worked in Rahway, you were a heavy hitter at Trenton.
I guess what I'm thinking is if you're in the academy, am I going to be walking through with my baton clinking the bars?
You think that you're watching these movies, but thank God we had a couple of we had two good instructors that were from Rahway that were instructors there. I kind of took this, I think, how many was there? 7 of us. And they kind of like, all right, listen, you stay here. You kind of, we stuck together, our guys. I'm still actually very good friends with my buddy Anthony. And
you're going to Rahway while you're in the academy?
Yeah, they let you know right off the bat. All right, this is where you're going to go. I'm like, okay. I didn't know. The only thing I knew about Rahway is my uncle, my mother's brother lived in Woodbridge. So we used to pass that dome all the time. So when I was a young kid, that's all I remember. I'm like, whoa. I'm
The
going to that
rotunda,
dome.
yeah.
The rotunda, man. I'm in. You know?
And for those of you who don't know the rotunda, I'm going to tell you, you do know it. So number one, Sylvester Stallone in Locked Up. All right. Number two, Rounders, Worm gets out of Rawway.
Yep.
Okay.
Denzel Washington.
So then you have Ocean's 11.
Yep.
Danny Ocean comes out of Rawway.
Yep.
Or is he
No.
the first or second time? One of those times he comes out of Rawway. So Rawway is a very storied prison. It's got, listen, you got the salad tosser in there.
Yes, we were talking about that. I forgot his name, but he was there until the day I left there.
So if you don't know who the salad tosser is,
I forgot his name.
watch the Chris Rock special.
Yes.
What was it? An HBO? It was like an HBO thing behind bars or something. And they talk about him, and he goes, "New guy comes in, I tell him to rub his ass with jelly or syrup."
Water. Yeah, something.
So Chris Rock does a great thing about it, where he goes, you got these people going into the schools, teaching them how to read, McGruff the crime dog and all that stuff, and teaching them all that stuff. All you got to do is bring the salad tosser in there. Hey, you don't want to read? Well, why don't you go get some jam, jelly, or syrup, and we'll read together. That was the thing. But he's like I think the most jarring thing about that is he was like a bulky guy. He was a big dude.
Yeah, he wasn't like, he was maybe 5'10".
Yeah.
He was one of the original. There was 3 guys that tried to break out of Trenton at the time. He was one of the 3. He got shot in the ass when he was trying to go over the wall. They shot him in the ass.
I heard he liked it. Shot in the ass.
And to boot, we make him a porter. He's a barber on the unit, and he's a porter on the unit.
I was talking to somebody, and they said he's the biggest snitch around.
Well, they were.
Listen, this is what I heard, dude. Don't come and toss my salad, man.
That is pretty funny. Kevin did some more. He wasn't like a snitch, but those guys had it pretty good. Like if you were in with like a couple like certain lieutenants and captains, he would be down there all the time, letting them know what's going on. For his benefit,
of course.
all for their benefit.
That's what you got to understand about those people. They're looking to make life easier for them.
Exactly. You're trying to make yourself home. You're doing life in there. You're going to try to make that as much as home as possible.
Now, did you cross-pollinate with the other big institutions?
No.
So Northern State, I think, held Kuklinski. I think that's
Trenton. Kuklinski was down in Trenton, and then he got bounced around. Back then, they used to bounce you around like you used to do. You have life. You do 12 years you were in Trenton. They would knock you up into put you in Northern for 6, near us for 4, then back to Trenton.
So the guy who put Kuklinski away, Bobby Carroll, lived in the town I worked in, and he was strange because he would walk around. Now I think he's Morris County prosecutor, but he used to walk to town at like 2 a.m. Him and a guy named I think it was Tom Smith was his name, or Smith was his last name. You'll see him on every documentary about Kuklinski. So I used to stop him, and I became friendly with him. I'm like, okay, tell me. I want to hear. And he would tell me the whole ins and outs. Like he had to become an expert on cyanide poisoning and exhume all these bodies. And he looked for the redness on the chest, and he would give me all this back stuff. I'm like, it was just super, super interesting. But he also told me this. He said, Kuklinski killed some people, but he didn't kill 200.
He didn't kill 200 people.
He didn't kill 200.
They glorified that a lot.
Yeah.
He did hide that guy by Harris Corner.
Yes.
Oh, he did?
Where we worked.
Yeah.
Where I worked, yeah, South Hackensack.
So I did.
First South Hackensack area, yeah. That's
he used to cut them up.
drum.
He used to put them in drums,
Right.
And scatter them around.
Well, he was saying, who was that cop that was killed? God, it was a dirty NYPD officer. He's saying
that he killed him. Hey, he didn't kill him.
Yeah. Then he was saying he was hooked up with Roy DeMeo.
Yeah, that was not true.
Right.
Yeah, like those guys. He was in the mob. No.
But I did hear his brother Joseph was also in Trenton State with him.
They were together. They were, yes.
But he would never talk to him because Joseph was a homosexual.
Yes.
And used to have to go to the infirmary to get his asshole sewed up.
Yes, Kev.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's an interesting world. There are celebrities inside the prison.
Yeah,
But how long, when you start walking the halls of a place like Rawway, how long did it take you to get the lay of the land, to figure it out? Stop being so hyper vigilant.
Maybe 6 months. And the first day we go there, you graduate and you get, okay, listen, get the weekend off, you start training Monday. I'm bad with dates, whatever. We started. We walk in there, you're like, all right, they tell you, you're a GA is like a general assignment guy, they have regular guys that are on the floor, baton. Back then we used to have to wear a helmet, and a baton.
As you're walking the halls?
Well, when they would like make a movement, so like
All right.
in first shift is from 6 to 2, and then second 2 to 10, then 10 to 10 to 6 in the morning. So we were training on first shift, so 6 a.m. First thing out is breakfast. So you're a brand new guy with a shaved head, with a crisp ass freaking uniform, right? So think about they were for real. They were like jail guards back in the day, old, tethered, worn out, And they cracked that door. I told Matty, 200 inmates just fucking walk straight at you. It's fucking humbling. And I thought I was a bad motherfucker, I was jacked up. I was fucking in shape, 10 years in.
Nobody's bad enough against 200 inmates.
No. And Kev, I stood up. I was dumbfounded. I was like, holy shit, this is it, huh? I'm like, this is it, I think it took me, like I said, I'm going to say a good 6 months, because around 3 months in, I'm working, and first body I catch, like doing a break, not knowing what's up, but making sure they tell you, make sure you're walking. You don't want anybody dying. Well, fuck, I find the guy hung himself in the cell with a shoelace and I told him that, shoelace and a pencil. Turn the kit on his neck. That was it.
Yeah. Now you're holding that bag of shit.
Well, they were like, "Oh, don't work with Patunas. He's fucking bad, man. He's, how they broke my balls for fucking 6 months on that." I mean, I liked the job. Yeah. I'm not saying maybe I liked it. I mean, it was.
I don't know how you get used to the smell.
Can I tell you something? You get that smell. There is really nothing like that. Actually, that smell.
It's just like ass and feet.
And you catch some fucked up. Like you get sick as soon as you're a brand new dude. You get this sickness for like 2 weeks. And I swear to God, after that, you're impervious to anything. It's like you get like some kind of fucked up immunity. I swear to God. And I never got sick. For 13 years I was there, I never got sick.
Yeah, I watch guys like that. So I have a...
That's not even a joke.
I'm friendly with the sewer department guys who work there in the town. And every time I got to go near that place, I'm like, how the fuck do you guys work here around human shit all day long? And they don't even smell it. Actually, when they smell it, they smell money. That's what they'll tell you. They smell money. But these guys, like you, they never get sick. They are impervious. I've watched them touch human shit with their bare hands and wipe it out and go eat and never get sick.
I mean, that's basically, that jail was like that,
Well, you're not in there with the upper echelon of society.
No. You're in there with some killers in there.
Yeah.
That was really even when I went in, they were first getting rid of like street clothes. The street clothes were leaving. They were implementing a lot of. They were starting to implement a lot of stuff back then. The big thing is they had there was a correctional officer that got killed right before I got that summer we got on. The guy Fred Baker got killed. The guy stabbed him. So we had they were first giving us the stab-proof vests. And what's a good correctional officer do? You don't want to wear it, A. And B, you take the Kevlar out of it and you just fucking wear the vest like a like a penny.
Yeah.
You don't wear the vest. You don't do anything that's right. And then if you get caught with it, you were a fucking you were soft. So
well, so they used to tell us that with I used to hold. You put trauma plates in your vest. So I had a hard trauma plate.
I think I did. I think when I first started, Kev.
I had a trauma plate here, but somebody gave me a trauma plate.
So put it in the back.
I put it in the back, and they're like, "What are you going to get shot in the back for running away?" I'm like, "No, one of you motherfuckers are going to stab me in the back."
You got a fucking bad shoot, and you got to catch me in the back.
Yeah, I was worried about my own guys fucking stabbing me in the back. So I never was lax on safety like that because I know at any moment it could pop off. And you're around how many inmates did Rawway hold?
1,027.
So 1,027 at any one, and you are vastly outnumbered.
100, I think on second shift when I started, it was maybe 100, 127, maybe 131, maybe I'm thinking on that.
To one?
Trick. No, to one?
Well, how many COs did you have?
137 on that.
You had 137.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, 100 to one maybe. Yeah.
Huh. So at any given time, they could just say, "Fuck you guys," we're together. And you're done. And that's the scary part about jail. While you can use certain techniques to maintain control, you're really not in control. It's a false illusion.
100%.
Yeah.
You let them have the illusion that they're in, you know what I'm saying, that we're in, you know, we're in control. You're running your own ship though over there.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, was there ever a time when they, I know they test you. I know.
Oh
they
no,
test you.
they test you. You know, they definitely, you know, they play you to fuck. You know, when you're, especially when you're new, they run you ragged. You know, you'll be up on a fucking tier. Oh, I need the phone. Oh, I need this. You know, you're the jerk that's opening every door. You know, they have the big paracentric keys.
Mm-hmm.
So being a new guy, you got all the shit detail. You got three wing. Three wing was 3 tower, three stories. They're all double bunked. There was only 4 cops. There was 1 cop for each tier, and then one rover cop that used to just walk around 3 tiers. I'm going to say, I'm going to.
And you got bars or doors?
Bars for doors.
But it's, you know what I'm talking about, the doors with the windows, the solid doors?
No, not just no solid doors, bar
Bars.
doors.
Like old time jail,
Yes.
which you think is old time jail.
Big paracentric key, you know, you know, open the other lock, you know, double locked, you know, one lock is for one, the other one's for the other, you know. That was another thing you had to learn, you know, like you fumble fucking the keys when you're nervous, you want to make sure you're doing the right thing. You had 4 gigantic sets of keys hanging off your pants, off your keepers.
You ever have a prisoner ask you to do something improper?
Of course.
Give me an example. How would they approach you?
This is well, I ran a housing unit. I took a housing unit. I had like 3 years in. I took a housing unit that had weekends off. At Sunday, Monday, which is a big deal. Steady Sunday, Mondays. I was like, I'm going to take it. They know what cops are, I guess, who's approachable and who's not, who's going to step on your neck and who's not, you know. I made that job as easy as I could make it for myself without putting anybody else in danger. So how I ran it is not how you're going to run it or Matt would run it. You know, you do your own. I ran things my own way. But they would ask you for simple shit in the beginning. This is how a lot of guys get caught out, you know. They ask you, hey, you know, can I run down there and grab something? Yeah, go ahead. Hey, can you pass this magazine to, you know, it's only 2 cells down. Can you do me a favor?
Kind of like grooming.
You know, yeah, you know, it's kind of, you're right. Hey, you think you hear that new song? You got that tape? You know, like DVDs were still big back then.
Yeah.
You know, hey, you listen to, hey, you think you could bring that in? I just want to listen to it. You know.
And they just
bring in a pack of
soften you up.
cigarettes, very something that you would never. That you smoke, you know, you bring in cigarettes.
Yeah.
Hey, can I get that? Let me get that half a pack. Can I get the pack?
Mm-hmm.
Little by little. I've seen guys that, you know, little by little becomes the, hey, if you wanted to go see somebody and they gave you some cash, you think you can bring something in for me?
Then they got you.
Of course, they got you right there.
Then they own you. And you see it a lot with the male guards who used to run female prisons.
Mm-hmm.
Female gives a guard a little sexual favor. Next thing you know, they can do whatever they want to do. They own you. And that's a hard thing, you know. And
when you're in that position, you don't know. I've seen that. There was a couple of guys, they were very good guys, that got themselves in that position. And you think you hang out with guys and they could be the best guy. You put yourself in that position, you don't know what the fuck to, you don't know you don't know what to do. You don't, you know, when you feel like that, the walls are closing in on you.
Mm-hmm. Well, Matt, you ever get offered a bribe on the job?
No, nothing serious.
So you know the funny thing is all the time I was a cop, I was never offered one bribe. Nothing serious.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, nothing serious.
Nothing serious. No. In my job now, I've been offered like 5, and like I'm an official. That's all I am. I'm an official, and I'm like, dude, you think I'm stupid? You think so the one guy said outright, and I said, I'll do it, $75 million. That's what I told him. 75. He goes, $75 million for approving this? Are you kidding me? And I said, yeah, because whatever amount of money I get, I need to go buy my own island, with no extradition, because I'm not taking hot dicks to my mouth for the next 5 years for official misconduct. I'm just not doing it. So you make it through, and listen, that itself.
It's tough, Kev.
How many years did you do?
13.
You did 13 years. Did you leave on a medical?
Yeah, but I'm seeing.
What was that?
We got into at the last 3 years. I had a great job. I was over in the ADSAG building, which is like administrative lockup unit. It's a separate building than the raw where the jail's here. They have an administrative lockup. So that means you touch it, you like PC guys around protective custody.
Guys who ratted or
Yes.
cops or something.
And second of all, when I first started, so you're talking 98, 99, 2000, they had the sex offenders that owed state time. They were housed in like Charlie, I think it was Charlie Wing. So the flats in Charlie Wing and Delta Wing were all the sex offenders that had to do state time or they were civilly committed. They didn't know what to do with them at that time yet. They're all in one jail in Avenel now. They have that all in jail by
I
themselves.
actually know 2 people in Avenel.
Really?
I went to high school with them.
Oh, jeez.
One of them got caught manufacturing porn, but he was the type of guy like those child predators. Like the one guy in particular, like when he got caught, he was given 99 years or something like that. When he got caught, you kind of said to yourself, yeah, kind of makes sense.
You can almost look at him and go, yeah.
Yeah, he's AV club, Boy Scout
Yeah.
leader. You're like, okay, well, you're working yourself up the chain.
That's what I was saying. The last 3 years I had that was actually a good job, the escort job. So anybody that came off the bus, on the bus, all new intakes, we would take them, We had an intake that came off. We were on an escort, turned around, he elbowed my buddy in the mouth. It was melee in a bathroom, in a toilet cell. That's how big the room is. Picture like a room like that's 8 foot by like 4 foot, with 2 COs and an inmate. I think my partner Pete was like 6'2", maybe 260. They were jacked. I was the smallest guy on our team, and melee, boom, I break my hand hitting him. I shatter my hand.
You mean you hit it on the bar? You didn't.
Oh, yeah,
you don't hit anybody.
I actually hit it on the toilet bowl, but his head, hit my hand. I got viciously assaulted from him. But broke my hand. These 2 fingers are sewn together. So the pinky's sewed to the whatever this finger's called.
So you were able to get out with your full?
Full. Thank God, yeah.
Yeah. And what year is this?
2011.
So some stuff happens after 2011
Yes.
that sort of spirals a little bit downward.
Well, 2011, I get hurt. I have 4 surgeries on my hand. So, if you will remember, that was when the doctors were still giving you whatever you needed for anything you got. You could have went in for your fucking pinky was hurting. You were getting something.
And they say take it as prescribed.
Take it. Yeah. Back then it was take what you need. And there was no such thing as we can't write more than a certain amount every month. There was nothing. You can go to 5 different doctors, get 5 different scripts, guys. They started giving those Percocets. You're home. You don't have to work. At first you take them as like, this is they used to call it like, imagine my family not thinking that I would, eventually become an addict. Thinking, hey, look, take that happy pill, you get yourself happy. You take that, fucking 3 drinks, you're fine.
Good.
So you're rocking and rolling, man.
You're good.
You're rocking and rolling. Never thought in a million years that I'll never be that guy.
So I did that after a shoulder surgery. And the first they prescribed me hydromorphine, and then it was oxycodone, right? And to take it as prescribed. Every 4 hours, I take it. After like 3 months, I'm going to rehab. I'm doing everything I'm supposed to do. After like 3 months, I'm like, I got to go back to work. I got to stop taking these things. But they'll keep prescribing them. Like, what the hell are they doing? That was the hardest drug I've ever kicked in my life. Took me 3 days.
Yeah, pills, they stay in your system.
The Suffering Podcast welcomes our newest sponsor, KetaRevive. Ketamine infusions that are personalized, accessible, and holistic. Proven treatments for post-traumatic stress, depression, anxiety, chronic pain, neuropathic pain, and so much more. KetaRevive is physician-operated with customized treatments tailored to you and an outstanding support system. KetaRevive offers first responder special discounts. So try something new. Proven treatments. Located in Wyckoff, New Jersey. To find out more, visit KetaRevive at KetaRevive.com. Let's start healing today.
When you're on these for a long time, you would know, like, you take one every 4 hours. That was doing the trick. Oh, that you felt good. Then it was like 2 every 4 hours. Then it was 3. Then it was 4.
You want to hear the worst statistic about those things? Is when they first came out with those painkillers. Well, they've been out forever, but when they first came out and the doctor said only about 1% of people are going to get addicted to them.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
Oh, it's terrible.
Yeah.
Well, they totally lied. Now that whole scandal, how they were pushing those the Oxycontins, right? They all got sued. They were pushing that. They were telling the reps were going out and they were telling this is not addictive. This is not addictive. You know, those oxy. You know,
You doing what you did, you know this is not right. You know this is
after a while, you know it's not right. 100%.
You know it's wrong. And did you ever try to quit?
Oh no, I was sober for a while, like on, off. I was sober for a long time.
But when you stop, and this is what they
It's
don't talk
hard.
about.
Let me tell you something. It's hard.
Not only kicking it because your skin crawls, but so it dulls your pain receptors. And then when you get off of it, your pain receptors become ultra sensitive and everything hurts. Like every little pain that's been dulled for years, all of a sudden wakes up in one day.
Because you rewire your brain to know that when they're taking that, you're going to feel good.
Yep.
You know, when you stop taking that, it's like giving a dog a treat every day. You know, he's going to wait for you until you give him that treat.
Well, it was like Celebrity Rehab or something. Remember Kanicki from Greece, Jeff Conaway? So he's kicking opiates. And I remember a scene where he's in the corner and he's like, there's nothing happening to him, but he's crying. Like he's just shivering and crying. He's going through DTs and his pain receptors are ultra active and he's in pain. And you know, if you've ever been there, you have a lot more sympathy.
It's a bad place. It's a dark, bad place.
Yeah. So
it's a bad, dark, but it's not, you know.
You kicked that, which is tough in itself.
Thank God I was able to get off the pills.
Then why'd you go back?
I was sober, and my brother was sick. My brother Michael was first my best friend in the whole world, you know. I'm going to get choked up even talking about that. I'm sorry. My brother Michael, he's a lawyer, had his own practice, whole nine. He was very, very, very superstar. Maddie knows him. You know, we grew up with him. And
How much older? How
Michael was like 3 years older than me.
Okay.
3 years. 3 years older than me. So I'm the baby of the family. So me and my brother, tight. Always up there. Either he was at my house or I was up his house. One morning I get a phone call, 3 o'clock in the morning. The phone's ringing. And just to go back a little bit, that was that could have been a Sunday. I'm not, like I said, I'm not really good. I wrote a lot of stuff down, but it could have been on the Sunday. And Woodridge had a glitch in the 911, the 911 system. So my phone rang Saturday night, like at 3 o'clock in the morning the night before. And I was waking I didn't want my kids were small still. I'm panicking. Like I go to the phone. Oh, it was the first time I'm up. So the following day, Sunday, the phone goes off again. I look at my wife, Christina. I'm screaming, get the damn phone. Get the phone. I want the baby to wake up. She gets me the phone. She's like, hold on. My sister-in-law's on the phone. It's right to me. Jill, what's up? I said, I'll come up. I got you. What's wrong? Is Michael all right? No, he's not breathing. He's not breathing. He said, I'm like, you have to get him off the bed. You have to get him off the bed onto the floor. You have to do. She's like, no, the paramedics are here. Do me a favor. Can you meet me at Valley Hospital? I'm sorry.
Where did Michael live?
Michael was living in Ramsey.
Okay.
We go to Valley. And on the way to Valley, before I go to Valley, I go straight to the drug dealer's house. 4 o'clock in the morning. I said, I'm not doing this straight.
Oh.
Not doing this straight.
What'd you pick up?
5 bags of dope, heroin. I was never a heroin guy. Never. He was like, take these, don't worry about this, don't worry about it.
So was it shooting or snorting?
No, snorting. I didn't shoot. Not to say that's anything better or different.
So you were getting good stuff then?
That's when you were still, that, if you want to say, yeah, that was when, dope was real.
Because I know in order to snort heroin to get the proper effect, it's got to be somewhat good.
It's not like, well, I'll fast forward, but it's not like the garbage. Like everybody's OD, it's all fentanyl. There's no more. You can't. I guess you could. I don't really know, but yeah, I never forget it.
So you go
in my brain. I swear to God, I knew I was going there, and I knew I was going that direction. Fucking 4 o'clock in the morning, I'm banging on this fucking dude's door. He answered the door. What's up? Whatever the fuck you got, I need. What's wrong? My brother's fucking dead, I think. I said, I need something.
How'd you get the drug dealer's number?
I had it.
You
It
had
was through I had it through a friend of a friend.
Mhm.
You know, they doing pills and stuff. You kind of know certain people,
Mhm.
but you would never know it. The guy was like, you know, but yeah, that was it.
And of course, he didn't try to talk you out of it, I'm sure.
No, he didn't know. They definitely did not try to talk me out of it. But when I was deep into it, he kind of gave me the father talk. He was actually not like, he wasn't like, you know, a typical like a drug dealer kind of guy, you know. He was like, Matt, you're going to ruin your life. Look at me, you know. You're going to, please, why don't you stop? Do it for your family. And when my brother died, my brother lasted 3 days in the hospital, hooked up to every goddamn life support. I stayed there for 3 days. I got stoned for 3 days. I was wrecked for 3 days. I stayed there. I was coming home to shower, get a quick shower, and go right to there, go there, and come right home.
What did he die of?
He had a massive stroke. They did every
Sometimes.
conceivable. They did this bone thing that I don't even know. It's they froze him. They freeze you.
Mhm.
They induce your, you know, they take you offline. Actually, they freeze your body down to I think a half a degree lower than your body, your core. And they do it like they wrap your femoral and they have this flow of ice cold water. They freeze you for like 10 hours. They take you off. And then if you had any kind of brave movement, it would pick it up like, so we had to wait. And I'm going to tell you right now, the 2 longest days of my fucking life was from that day, from that night. I'm watching them. I'm going back. I know I'm jumping around, sorry, but I'm visualizing I'd never forget when they're frantically working on my brother. They had a chest tube. They hit him twice. I'm watching this, like, the doctor let me stand here in Valley, man. And like Mike's on the table over there, and I got his wife, Jill, like I got her under my arm. And all I kept saying is, oh my God, I got to tell my parents. Like somebody's got to call. Hardest thing I ever did my whole life. I had to call my sister.
No parent should ever outlive their child.
No.
You know?
My parents died that day. When they came, I called my sister Marie up. I said, Mary, I'm at the hospital with Jill. You got to get down here like immediately. You got to come. They lived where I'm living now. I'm living back at my parents' house. My sister Marie lives on the top of me. She had to walk downstairs at 4:30 in the morning and knock on my father's door, get my parents up, and then get them to the hospital.
Those early morning calls.
No.
That's how I
Terrible,
found out
bro.
about him.
Terrible.
Early morning call.
It's terrible, bro.
And then you do the proverbial woulda, shoulda, couldas. You know, I should have done this. I should have done that.
yes.
I should have told him I loved him one more time. I should have done
No,
this.
I felt like that I should have been dead. Like, why is he dead? Why? I'm not dead. I'm a piece of shit.
Now,
Why am I dead?
Meanwhile, you're going back into the throes of addiction.
Yep. And just coming out of and just being clean for like a year, maybe at that point, maybe a little longer, like on, off, nothing crazy. Like I get, listen, addiction's addiction. I don't care if you're doing one pill, people might say, well, I'm not doing a lot,
You know how I found out that I beat my addiction of alcohol? And it's not that I wouldn't like to have a drink every now and again, but you could sit there and drink right in front of me and be like, all right. We had the event at Mickey's, right? People drinking all over the place. There was a part of me that going, guys, the fuck are you doing? We're in this spot because of drinking. What are you doing? But at the same time, there's the rational part of me going, hey, listen, I don't want to ruin anybody's good time. You guys are adults. I fucked everything up. Doesn't mean you got to fuck everything.
But you don't have to have a shit time.
I thought that too during that.
Yeah.
Saying to myself, this is kind of like, listen, I'm not a prude or anything. This is kind of like weird and odd and like,
yeah.
And
we're having it at a bar.
Yeah,
so.
at least it was all good. But I'm like, I don't know. Is this something?
There were some people hitting it hard.
Oh yeah.
There were, and I get it. They were numbing some pain. They were hitting it hard, but at the same time, I'm
You're right, though.
a little bittersweet about it.
You're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
So, how far into addiction did you get?
I would wake up in the morning. First of all, if anybody anything that knows any opiates, you need opiates around every 4 to 6 hours, depending how much you take on a basis. I would wake up every morning. I left the job. I was injured on the job, right? So I was already home. I was home since 2011. This is 2018.
So you officially retired.
I was I think it was like 14 months after that.
Right.
I'm working. I slowly get myself back to ironworking. You know, my father said, why don't you just go back? You don't got to go back every day. Go back, you know, just why don't you just come back a couple of days a week? So that was still back when you can get, you know, you knew who and, you know, you knew that foreman. You know, oh, I know this guy that owns this company. So I had a good couple of good jobs. And 4:30 in the morning, I would wake up. Either I had it or I'd have to go get it. I would work all day and then come home and then grab something for that night and make sure I had something that would last me from 4 o'clock at night until 4 in the morning.
Now, your wife ever suspect any of this?
Not in the beginning, but that twice. After the second time, I OD'd twice. Yeah. So.
And what was her reaction when she found out you're doing dope?
The first time, you know, she didn't know what to. She didn't know what to do. She didn't know what to do.
Because I know my wife was getting concerned with the pills after my shoulder surgery. I was still working. I was still on the job. And she threatened to throw them out. It was one of the bigger fights we ever had.
Like,
I'm like, you ain't fucking throwing that shit out.
Exactly. That's my, you know.
That's mine.
I remember that when I was like in full blown addict. My wife would fucking go through my wallet or go through whatever. Like I had my own. I'm very meticulous. Like if I'm working, like I gotta have all my shit lined up at some kind of my OCD. I gotta have my wallet, my keys, my socks. You know. She would go through and leave fucking notes out for me, pictures of my kids. So I fucking feel like a real shitbag in the morning. You know, 4:30 in the morning when you have to get yourself high so you're not sick. You know, you're looking at that. So how it really went down is, I mean, after the first time I did, I was working. I came home. I do my whole routine, and I fell out in my backyard. Now. I have screen doors that go off to a deck, and then I have a pool. I sat down on the I have like on the lazy boy, whatever that
the
lounge,
boy, the lounge chair,
chaise lounge, right? And all I remember is waking up with like 50 fucking people in my backyard in Woodridge. 50, like everybody's huddled over me. My next door neighbors, this, that. They had every cop in the two boroughs were, you know, Woodridge, Colstad, Heights, paramedics. I'm like, I wake up, I was soaking wet. I said, oh my God, I'm saying to the guy, did I piss myself? My eyes were closed. So the guy goes, oh, no, relax, you know, relax. I said, what happened? What happened? He goes, oh, you tell me. He goes, you tell me. So I'm kind of coming to. I really didn't know where I was at.
Did they hit you with Narcan?
Yeah, well, they Narcan me 4 times. This is how bad it gets, Kev. That's the first time that I go hospital. They let me out. My wife go. I check into like a 5-day. You know, you think you're fucking. I got this shit. You know, 5 days. I got this. That lasted maybe, I'm going to say, 6 months until that following summer. And then you're like, You call up that same guy and go, you know what?
I got this beat.
I got a friend that needs 5 bags, or, you know, a half a bundle was 5. I guess bundle was 10. I got a friend, you know, they knew, he knew. And that getting high on, trying to sneak getting high, you know, on like a Saturday and like hang out.
Well, did you think you had a beat?
Yeah, no, I thought like this was it. Like, all right, I don't have to get high all the time. You know, like in your mind, you actually lie to yourself so much. Kev, you do. You lie to yourself so much that your brain's telling you that this is gonna be fucking good.
So the crazy thing is with addiction across the board, whether it's alcohol or drugs, the 6-month point is the most critical.
Yes, it is.
Because they think they got to be. I'll talk to a lot of people who have alcohol problems, right? And they'll go sober, and 6 months I fell off the wagon. Well, yeah, because you fucking thought you have it beat. You never have it beat. You don't have it beat.
It's the hardest point between 6 months and a year that most people either are going to make it or they're going to revert back.
I'll have 11 years on November 26th.
Nice, thank God, and knock on wood every day, you know. I'm sober for fucking, oh, Jesus Christ, I don't know how long. I'd be honest with you, since
Well, the only reason I
18,
know that
19, yeah, summer 19.
the only reason I know my sobriety date, it was the day after Thanksgiving, and I checked myself into rehab. That's the only time. That's the only reason I know that. It was 2013. Day after Thanksgiving, I checked myself into rehab, and that was it. I was done. Because I became that proverbial prisoner. You know,
You get trapped, and you like, you remember you saying how you get cornered yourself off, how they get COs to bring stuff in.
Mhm.
You kind of feel you get trapped. You're trapped.
Yeah.
There is no way to get out of that. So fast forward the next summer, right? 6 months unclean. I'm kind of working, and as any kind of good drug addict you would do is you network, you find people, right? And like I said, the one guy was like, "Listen, Matty, you got to really slow down. You got to slow down. I don't want to see you kill yourself." Oh, fuck it. I would go see him, and then I found somebody else. So then I was like, oh, I can get one and then go grab another one. I'm good. Well, I was driving. I do 2 blasts like I always did. And as soon as I did it, I never forget it. I'm on Route 4, and all I heard was a hum, like a huge humming sound in my head, like a, like, you know what I'm saying, Kev? Like the ringing, but you know, what the fuck? And I knew I had the wherewithal. I was going to try to get over to the shoulder.
Route 4 is a major highway.
So I'm going over, and I kind of tapped somebody on their bumper, and I must have fucking went out. But thank God I was already went out, but I smashed the divider. Thank God there was a cop and a nurse getting off shift at Holy Day Hospital. That got me out of the car. I was blue. If you read the report, you would want to kill me. If you read the police report. They Narcan me 6 times. They defib me twice.
Did it work?
Yeah. But
I'm sorry.
No.
Listen,
No,
I've been known to make really inappropriate comments, and that was one of them.
But I mean, I got lucky in every aspect.
So,
and 2 friends actually that were on the job that I knew from the jail. One was a Bergen County sheriff. One was a state trooper, New Jersey state trooper. That both came up, and I had my badge hanging from the car. And they looked at my name, and they were like, "We got a cop." I never forget. I was so out of it, Kev. You know, I didn't know what to, like, I was so out of it. I really was. I was so fucked up. When I got to the hospital, I must have been out. I woke up. I'm like, oh my God. I looked down at my fucking feet. You know, I was like, am I going to be chained to the fucking bed?
you know, you said you feel trapped, right?
Trapped. It wasn't the word.
And I know that feeling, but you know the reality of it. You're never really trapped. Like that's something we make up in our mind, right? You're never really trapped. You can get out, but when you're in the middle of it, man, you see those walls closing, and you're like, I got nowhere else to go.
Well, the only other thought, the way I thought I was going to go is, I'm going to go. I'm going to go. Fuck this. I'm going to do it. You know, I'm going to go. You know, I'm going to go. And I was like, oh, fuck it. I'm going to go. And then my wife, you know, all that she kept saying is, you got 2 kids. What's wrong with you? You know, what's wrong with you? You know?
Then you start saying the importance in life, and
you know, you do, you know. And then that night I woke up, and I read that. I got myself sick. I was reading that, how bad the guy was like. Listen, you were dead for 3 minutes, dead. I was done. If the cop wasn't right directly behind me, and the nurse ripped me out of the car, and she was doing chest compressions, I would have probably been done. You know.
So now you're given the second choice, though, or second chance.
Second chance. This is how I got it. Either you come home tonight, you check yourself, you're going away, or you can't live in this house no more. You got to leave.
Wives have a great talent for doing that. They really do. It's like, this is it, or get out.
Okay, exactly. Like, but in your head, you're going to work this out. I knew I was going to go. Like I said to myself, this is it. I've heard all these crazy horror stories. Like once you start ODing or once you go, you're going to be done. You know, like I was like, you know, I can't do this now. You know, the guilt sets in about, look, your kid's going to, like my wife's like, your kids are going to fucking find you dead. Is that what you want? You want your daughter to come home and see you dead?
You're not thinking like
No,
that.
of course not.
You're thinking your the proverbial peripheral vision is closed up on you.
Of course, 100%.
And you're just seeing this high that you're chasing, and everything else is speeding cars going past blurry.
It wasn't even, it wasn't even like, wow, this feels good. It felt good for around 2 minutes. And that was it. That first time, you know, when you take that first pill, you take that first drink, you're like, man, this is what it's going to be. This is what it's going to feel like forever. This is fucking.
Even on a lower level, you ever smoke?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You remember that? So
Sure,
out of a
first.
pack of cigarettes that you smoked a day, all right, how many of those cigarettes are really good? 2?
Oh, like, I'm sorry, smoking cigarettes?
Yeah.
Never smoked cigarettes. I thought you smoked marijuana.
No.
Oh,
Smoking cigarettes. Listen, I smoked since I was 13, and I quit when I was 45 or something like that. And you start looking back over this stuff. No, actually, I quit when I was like 43 or something. You start looking back over this, and in reality, like there's only like 4, maybe 5 cigarettes that you really enjoyed. The rest of them were because you started getting like that low level jonesing.
Sure.
And yeah,
you take that pull off the cigarette, you're like, yeah, exactly. Oh, this is great.
and watch a smoker now. They'll go outside and they'll go,
Yep. They're drifting off from left field. You're exactly right, bro. That's what you think when you're an addict, that you gotta, first of all, the sickness that you get coming, it's unreal. Your skin's crawling. The depression, and I already have like anxiety, depression, the whole 9, PTSD, ADD, ADHD, the depression, and then being a drug addict, because you think that we know all, and that you can I'm going to self-medicate myself. I'm going to be able to do a couple of bags, do a couple of Xanaxes along with that, like the real kicker. As a good drug.
Why not?
Exactly. That was a little cherry,
Yeah.
You put that in the mix with that. I was like, I made myself a drink. I'd never forget it, like I said.
So did you went away to rehab?
I went away down to Florida.
Now here's the interesting part. And this from a guy who said he's never done anything adventurous in his life, which I call fucking bullshit on. But you go down there, and now you become, Florida's a little different. You become a prisoner. You get strip searched.
Yeah, man.
You get some dude looking at your asshole. This time not willing.
You gotta urine every day.
You gotta piss every day.
Every morning you gotta go urine.
And you want to talk about humbling yourself. That's humbling.
How about when you're 40, what am I, 53? 46?
Mm-hmm.
I go down there and I'm like, fuck. I was like, probably like, there was 2 older gentlemen down there for alcohol. They make you raise your, I was down there with 20 other guys. I went to an all male. And you have to make, you raise your hand. I'm Matt from Jersey. What did you? Oh, I was a heroin addict. Heroin addict? Like what? Since ever? No, I started when I was like 44. I said, what? 44? You have to get like a little catch up in the game, you know what I'm saying?
I once knew a guy who was 78 years old and took up smoking. It was the funniest thing in the world. He's like, fuck it. I'm going to die soon. I might as well have fun.
I guess. I mean,
But it's a humbling experience. Now, you get out of rehab. What changes in your life?
When I first came home from rehab, it was like, it wasn't hard. I was very quiet. Like I kind of got weird. Like I was very quiet. Like I used to be fucking running around doing 120. When you have ADHD, you do if you take a stimulant, it levels you out. Now I took something like an opiate. I was up. I can go forever. On that. It's very, very weird.
So I've heard the opposite with people with ADHD.
Right. I got I'm polar opposite. Like my brain's wired. But it was it wasn't hard when I came home, but it was hard to fill all the time. You have to fill the time.
You owe your wife an apology is what you owe.
Well,
what you do.
it took me a year to call a good friend of mine that saved my life, bawling to him on the telephone. And he knows who he is. Bawling to him like I was a 2-year-old kid, bawling to him and saying, thank God you saved my fucking life.
Takes a little bit of time to adjust.
It takes a while.
So that friend who helped you,
Thank God.
have you turned the tables? Have you reached out to somebody else?
Well, I mean, I maybe not directly, but I worked the program.
Mhm.
I made a lot of good friends. I made a lot of. You'd be surprised who's in there. You know.
So I say that about, like, if I give anybody any assistance, I'll get this in return. They're like, well, what can I do for you? I'm like, you don't do nothing for
Right.
me. You don't do any, but help is not free. My help comes with debit. My debit is the next person that you identify that's in your same spot. You owe it to them to do what was done for you. Because Mike would tell you this if he was here. After when we started going group therapy together, I stayed on after I retired because there was people who helped me in my worst of worst times, and I felt like I owed that help to the next generation, and that was where the true healing started to begin. So that's got to be a mission. I'm telling you now, it is so freeing and it feels so good. That same feeling, that first bump that you did, that first blast. It will return, but it will return in a different form. And all I can do is tell you to trust me on that one.
100%.
And yeah, so I think you should do that. So you got 3 years sober.
Oh, I got maybe
You said 4 years.
4 years. Yeah, I'm almost
5
come
years.
5 years.
5
5 years.
So 5 years sober. And has there ever been a temptation?
Nah.
So if somebody
Like-
were to put a couple bags out here
No,
right now,
I couldn't do it.
because I got them.
I couldn't.
I brought them just
Where
for
are
the
they?
show.
I just
Yeah.
want to know where they're at.
I brought them just in case.
Just a good test. Make sure he's
I
not
just wanna
lying.
Make sure,
Exactly.
if you were lying to
Just
me,
a
I just
test.
want to see them.
But that's how you know you beat it, like we were talking about with the event.
You can ask Manny. And this time, this was no more game of. It was the game. It gets high stakes right after a while.
Mm-hmm.
Even when you're drinking, blackout, whatever, But when at that stage of the game, you don't know if you were going to get fentanyl, what you were going to get, right?
It's a different ball
So
game
it's
now,
a
yeah.
whole different ball game. So all these poor guys, the kids, these young kids that are out there, that, and they know how to get you too. They're great salesmen, so it could be the best stuff in the world. That one time, it's done.
So I'm going to actually talk directly to you, Matt. If you ever see this, you see him sliding, don't allow yourself to live with the same regret that I feel
Okay,
for
I know
Mike.
that, man. I know that.
All right? I watched him backslide, and I watched his life totally implode. I watched everything getting taken away from him. What I should have done is when he was sitting here, say, hey, dickhead, get off the show and come back when you're sober, because that's who I want here. I want clean, sober, lucid Mike. I don't want this fucking mess that I see in front of me. I didn't do that because this was the last, in my mind, the last bastion of normalcy that he had to come and hang out with his friends and have a good time. And I regret it every single day. I've since changed that. I am much more proactive. And that's why when you called me the one day, I'll call you right back. And I'm like, I'll be very direct with people. I don't care if you never talk to me again and you call me the biggest jerk off. As long as you're alive to say that, I'm cool with that. I'm good with that. But that's where you got to look with Matt here.
Absolutely.
That's where you got to look. So, Matt, you got any plugs you want to throw out?
No.
You got any? Okay, that's good.
I mean, I don't.
That's easy.
I mean, I would say if I was still doing my thing, I would say it, but I'm not.
Okay, you're not going to meetings anymore.
Oh no. I haven't since COVID.
All right.
The whole there's really meetings have got chopped down to like.
Yeah, I know.
It's very weird. You could have a meeting you can still hit a meeting everywhere. It's not like it used to be.
Yeah.
The same core of guys that I went through with a lot of older guys.
Well, you got to
I
think.
went to AA.
How many people relapsed because they didn't have that constant?
100. Listen, 100. You know how many people went back from COVID?
Yeah. It's a sad thing.
Well, it's you get so I don't know how to say it, but when you feel like we were saying, when you're trapped, it gets so melancholy. You think, your brain starts to play tricks on you. Like, you know what? If you get fucking high tonight, you'll have a good time. And you can stop. And you can stop.
But remember tomorrow.
That's the fucking crazy part. Right.
So remember tomorrow. Remember that feeling of regret you're going to have in the morning.
Like I said to you, I could never. It's actually like playing direct, like Russian roulette. That's like taking your gun and going like an old 6-shot and putting it to your fucking head, and then
maybe it'll.
Oh, okay, all right.
Maybe it'll go off. Maybe it won't go off.
We're safe today. Okay, it's not going to be like that.
So Matt, we're coming to the end of this thing here, and I end every show the same way because you've gone through suffering in your professional life as a corrections officer. You've gone through suffering in your post-career life. Hard to say which one's worse. One, you're dealing with criminals. Now you're dealing with this addiction monster. But it had to have taught you something. And if it didn't teach you something, it's really a wasted opportunity. So I would like to know from you what your suffering of being a corrections officer, being an addict, has taught you.
It's been a humbling for real. It's like it's been a very humbling experience, and it's taught me to be Kev. It taught me a lot in that fact. You really find out who your true friends are when you're in the worst possible spot in your life.
And
it's
those,
the truth.
And those are the people that you keep in your life forever.
It's the fucking truth, man.
Yeah.
You know,
well, guys, I appreciate you guys coming in here. I appreciate what you said. I appreciate everything you've gone through. But now you get to use all this stuff, and you're still here, so you get a second chance.
Brother.
Don't waste it.
Trust me, I'm trying not to. I'm not gonna.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, brother.
Hey, Kevin, keep up the good work.
I appreciate it.
Seriously, this is like I said. I mean, I knew Mike. Went to the academy with Mike, so.
I'm very sorry that you went to the academy with all those boneheads.
Well, De Palma, as we know, he is
Nicky Burke, and I know
special.
them all.
Oh, Burke. Well, anyway,
listen, was there asbestos in there? A lot of power lines overhead? Chipped paint?
The power wires up there.
Yeah, there's got to be power wires or like the lead paint. It's got to be lead
chips.
Talk to Nicky for 5 minutes, and
Nicky, I think, was on the other side of the academy room, so hopefully, I didn't get hit with the wires.
Did you guys get hit in the head a lot with PR24s? Yeah, that's all I can think.
But keep up the good work, though.
I appreciate
Honestly,
it,
man.
bro.
You're doing a great job,
guys.
And thank you.
Thank you, brother.
And that's going to do it for this episode, The Suffering of a Corrections Officer. And as always, let's think about what we learned. I heard the salad tosser guy likes the Mets. Control is a total illusion. Sometimes you do anything to dull the pain. Certain things are bigger than us. You're never truly trapped, but most importantly, some things are in our life to humble us, and sometimes it's very good to be humble. And that's going to do it for this episode. Don't forget to go to popple.com, put in the code TSP20 for a 20% discount on your digital business card. And, of course, follow us on all social media. That's Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, TikTok, Clapper, and OnlyFans. Follow me at Real Kevin Donaldson, and, of course, follow the Suffering Podcast. We'll see you on the next episode.